Bethany Michalak, welcome to the Call Room Road to Seattle. Second time on the podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Got to ask you, how close are you to being done with school, or are you done with school? And if so, how nice is that?
I am done. I've been done for about a week and it's so nice and I can actually enjoy summer now. So I'm very, very happy.
Bittersweet feelings graduating high school, or are you glad to be done with it?
Yeah, it's definitely bittersweet, but I'm also not mad about the school part being done. I'm very much in need of a break. So I'm sad I'm leaving my friends, but I'm glad no more schools in the future for a bit.
Does your mindset shift when school is over to more of that like professional runner mindset where it's like, I'm just going to recover and run and eat all day? Or is it more like, I'm going to go rock climbing with friends now that I have all this free time?
Honestly, it's a bit of both. I think for this month where I'm training for postseason, I'm really dialed in with the whole getting ready for those races and making sure my body is totally prepared. But once that ends, I'm like, let's go hiking, let's go camping, let's be outside all the time. And I just love summer. So both of them are really fun and I just enjoy this time of year.
When is the Colorado State meet? Did it already happen or is that coming up? Are you like fully focused on postseason?
It was actually this past weekend, so I just finished. So I'm able to train for about a month for postseason, so which is really nice.
So you like not having too many races and just like settling down, focusing on training?
100%. I mean, racing I think is definitely obviously important, but I enjoy just a good training block. It's been kind of hard to do that, I feel like, all track season, so I think I'm in need of it, and it's just a good time to enjoy, I guess, the last few weeks of high school running.
Take me through final state meet. How'd it go? How'd you feel? And what was it like walking away from the track?
It was really fun. I mean, it's again bittersweet. It was my last time with my teammates, and they're like my second family. So I was really trying to soak in all those moments with them. But as far as the running goes, I had a lot of fun with it. I just ran the 32, the 4-way, and the mile, and luckily for me, those were mostly on different days, so I had a good amount of recovery time. And I was able to come away with two individual titles, and our team podiumed and got fourth. So it was just a really fun way to end my season, and I really enjoyed my time there.
I know that cross country Colorado, wow, I almost couldn't say Colorado there, exposed. The cross country Colorado State meet is at altitude. Is track also at altitude? And I mean, I'm assuming because you live at altitude, it's pretty normal at this point. But do you ever wish that it was at sea level and you could actually run times that were representative of the effort?
Yeah, 100%. It is at altitude. I believe it's at like 5,400 ish, which is going down for me because I live at 7,000. So I guess that's kind of nice. But I would really like to have some meets that are at sea level so I can run faster times and do harder efforts on workouts. So I'm definitely looking forward to that next year. But yeah, everything up here is at altitude. You can't really get rid of it.
So you mentioned this next month is like focused on postseason. You're done with racing until postseason. Is the next week or two like recovering from all the racing you've been doing in your own Colorado State? Or is it more like we're gonna hammer this next month, we're ready to go? Is it like more sharpening, or what does this next month look like for training if you know?
I haven't really talked to my coach that much, but I'm pretty sure we're taking this week just a little bit more recovery. I feel like state's really hard on the mind and body, so I just want to make sure I'm feeling really good. And then once this week is done, we're really probably gonna start hitting some really hard workouts and try to sharpen things up again and get more in race shape because this whole season's been kind of off with the weather that I haven't been able to race as much as I want. So I need to make sure I'm sharp enough for when I race those like insanely fast girls at nationals.
Yeah, I was asking about the weather before we started the podcast. Take me through what it's like living at 7,000 feet in Colorado in May. You said snow? Snow
Yeah,
in
I
May? Is
Yeah,
this
there's been
real?
snow recently. Yeah, there's been a lot of snow. We've had a few meets canceled with snow. We've had a lot of meets canceled with wind. There's been like horrible days where the normal wind is like 35 miles per hour and then the wind gusts are like 50. I was supposed to run a 2 mile one time at lower elevation in Colorado and it got canceled because the wind was so bad. So we've been having some really bad luck with the weather. So it's been hard to get some decent races in. So state was like the first weekend in a long time that it was actually nice, which was good. But now we just want some more, I guess, time to race and run well in good weather.
What races this season were like actually legit? Did you race Arcadia? Was that the only one outside of state?
I mean, I raced Arcadia. I raced like a few in Colorado, but they were small and they weren't the ones that I was going to race because the weather got in the way. So I would say Arcadia was definitely like one of the only like legit ones that I was really prepared for, and then the other ones were kind of just spur of the moment because we had to get races in for times at first state.
Take me through Arcadia, such a special meet. I've described it on the series as like the national meet before the national meet. What's it like going to such a high pressure, high stakes environment for one of the first races of the season for most people? It's like throw
Yeah.
yourself right into the fire.
Yeah, I mean, I usually don't like to have Arcadia be my first race of the season. I like to have a little bit more confidence going in, but again, the weather really canceled all the meets beforehand, and I was gone, so it was my first race of the season. And it's always such a fun race. It's a great environment. There's so many people there that'll push you to your best, even if you're not feeling great. And I always look forward to it every year. So I had a great time. I loved the mile. I've been really growing a deeper appreciation for the mile this year. First time I've done it at Arcadia, and it was a great experience. I don't know. Anytime you race Sadie, you know it's going to be a fast race. So I was excited for that. And I knew that the training had been going decent. So it'd be a good way to test my fitness. And yeah, I was happy with the result.
Before we talk about more track and the lead up to Brooks PR, let's go back in time to the cross season. That was when I had you on the podcast, I believe, at the
Mhm.
beginning. I think it was like right after Woodbridge. And a big part of that conversation was how well you placed at NXN. And then you come back again this year, placed really well. Take me through last cross country season and your reflections of your senior year.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely one of my favorite seasons ever. I've had highs and lows, I feel like, all throughout high school cross country, but this year I was able to end it on a high note. We won as a team at nationals, and that was just like the biggest accomplishment ever because I'm sure everybody knows in the sport you do what you do to have individual results, but if you have a team behind you, it makes it way more enjoyable. And the getting second was amazing. I didn't really expect that at all. There was so many girls that were like crazy good, and I was just going in trying to run from the best I could for my team. And when we came away with both those results, it was like crazy. And so I think the whole season kind of led up to that moment. We worked so hard, so that was really surreal. But individually, I just had a lot of fun with it, trying to soak in every moment. Remember, again, it's my last time doing it with these people. So I had a really good season. I was happy with it. Times were good, and I was able to just, I guess, really embrace it all and have fun with it.
Now I'm remembering a big focus of the conversation was you sharing the goal of like, I don't know if you explicitly said that you won. I would have to go back and listen. You may have, but you were like, I want to make sure my team places as low as we can at NXN. What was it like to ultimately have that pay off? And can you take me through those finish line reactions when you guys found out you won?
Yeah, I mean, we had gotten second at NXR a few weeks before, and it was against Niwa, and they're so talented, they're so competitive. We ran against them for years, and it's been kind of funny because we've joked about how my freshman and sophomore year, a few of me and my teammates, we were like getting fourth at our state meet. And we were trying to like top three in our state and like our division, and the fact that we were able to win NXN is crazy. And we've always seen Niwa; they're such amazing people and such amazing competitors, but they've always seemed like so like far away from us. So the fact that this year we were kind of battling them out for placement was really cool. And once we crossed that finish line and realized that we had beat them, we were just, I think, shocked because we went in trying to win, but we were also just going in the mindset of let's just run and see what happens. And so when it all came together, we were like, oh my gosh, this actually happened. And it took definitely a few days to sit in. And sometimes it's still, you think about it like, oh my gosh, we won nationals, like we're the national champions. And so getting to experience that with them was like definitely one of the highlights, I guess, my running career for sure. And yeah, we were all just like in the pictures, just like hands over our mouth, just like shocked. We couldn't believe it happened. And that was definitely one of the best days I've had in a while. So it was so fun.
Talking on the relationship with Niwot, you race them so much in your cross country season, but specifically in the back half where it's like week after week after week after week. What is that relationship like between the two teams, but also like how is your coach coaching you in terms of like some of these lower class meets where it doesn't, I mean, you want to win, but it's not an NXN or a state meet. What's that relationship like of when you guys want to turn on and make and try to beat Niwot versus when it's like, let's just qualify and check the box. I mean, even in NXR, like, yeah, you want the title, but you really don't care until NXN.
Mhm. Yeah, my coach does a really good job about preparing us for each meet, and he's really good at not putting pressure on anything. Obviously, for NXN, he wants to be like, "All right, guys, let's go out there and give the best we can." And but he also knows that we also can get really nervous and things, so he doesn't like to put that pressure on us. But he prepares us very well by reminding us like what we're able to do, how to be confident, and to remember all of our training. And I think going into each race, it's just the trust we have in each other is really what pulls us through because when it's hurting, we just trust each other. And that goes for an NXN race or an NXR race. NXR was definitely a rough day for us. Some of us weren't feeling good. It was just not one of our best showings. And even though we didn't win, like you said, you don't really need to those days. You just want to qualify. And so we just kind of went into with the mentality of let's just go out there and try to qualify, get a spot, be competitors, and come out with a, I guess, placement that we were happy with and content with, and then show them even more NXN. And I believe that getting second at NXR really gave us fuel for the fire going to NXN. I think we could have still won NXN, but I think getting second just really motivated us even more because we wanted it even more. So I think those all events kind of led to that moment, and that was really special. But my coach does a phenomenal job, and all the Niwot girls are always so nice. So it's been a fun little battle the past few years, but it's been good.
Is it funny to think about team wise 1-2 and then individual wise 1-2 both schools talk about the dominance of Colorado women's distance running? Not just this
It's
year, but like every year, every year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like every year, there's just it's like more and more like talented girls going out there and running, and obviously Addie's crazy talented. She won an XN, and it's been kind of funny like thinking about how again like 1 and 2 for both teams and individuals, but just getting to be able to race those girls all year round, I think is just such a gift, and like we're always able to push each other no matter what race we're in, and that's always really fun. And not only is there Addie, but like Isabella Laurie and so many other girls, even my teammates. It's just always going to be a good race when they're out there. So getting to be a part of that culture and that dynamic is super special. I'm very grateful, and it just is going to keep growing every year after. So it's really exciting to look forward and see how that goes.
I know you're such a nice person, super humble. So I don't know if I can get this out of you, but I know how, and maybe this is just being on a guy's team and being a guy, but I know that practices, when postseason's heating up, out workouts, like you talk about other teams and you talk about individuals and you think about them on those hard reps or those mornings you don't want to get out the door. Is Niwot or other teams or other individuals, do you ever think about it? Or even now, like in track, you're thinking about the mile, you see the Brooks PR field. Do you ever think about people or things, or are these conversations with the team of like, we got to work extra hard to beat Niwot? Like, they're good people, but when we line up, they're enemies.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think it's a motivator. There's been a few times this cross season or even track season when we've been getting ready for meets like Arcadia or NXN, and we're not really wanting to do one more mile or not wanting to go do core, go to the gym. And we just tell each other, like, Niwat's definitely probably doing it. They're doing the extra mile, they're doing the core. We don't want to, like, not set ourselves up the best we possibly can to go out there and be competitors against our competitors. We want to ultimately win. And yes, like again, like I know that we're all like friends at the end of the day, but yeah, you do want to go out there and beat them, and that's kind of your goal at the beginning. So I think it is in the back of my mind something that's always motivating me. I don't want to slack off and not do it because I know everyone around me is doing it, and I don't want to not set myself up well. So it's definitely a motivator. It definitely gets me going. It definitely pushes you to like take an extra step when things are getting difficult.
In our conversation in the fall, you talked about how important the team was, and now, what, 8 months later, you're still talking about how important your team is and reflection of the cross season. Do you feel like you would have placed second if you went there as just an individual? And how much of the team score in the back of your head motivated you in that last 1K when the pain started to set in?
I don't think I would have gotten second if I was not working for my team. I think that was such a motivating factor, and I remember multiple times vividly during that race thinking to myself, "You're push through for your team. You got to keep going for your team. They're all doing this behind you. They're all working with each other. Like, make sure you leave it all out there for them. You don't want to, I guess, give up and then there's 1 point that makes a difference, then we lose." And so having that as, I guess, constantly in the back of my mind was what really drove me through that. And I bet the same thing with Addie. We could hear coaches the whole time kind of telling the scores up in the front. And I'm pretty sure we were like, oh my gosh, this is kind of crazy. So I think that's honestly what drove us forward constantly throughout that race. And so having that was definitely like what got me through it. And I'm glad I didn't give up. But I don't think without that dynamic, it would have been the same result.
With such a successful cross country season and particularly end to your cross country season, what was that reset period like between after cross and then indoor and even starting to think about outdoor and some of the races you wanted to be doing, like Brooks PR?
Yeah, I usually take around 2 weeks off just to reset everything, give my body a break, and then I'll start training. I don't go as hard for indoor. We don't really have a indoor season in Colorado, so there's not as many race opportunities as other states. But I still like to go out there and try to race a few times, especially at New Balance indoor, and see where my fitness is at before track outdoor starts. So I just gotta do some workouts, but it's more of like building a really strong base for track. And then I hopefully can get sharper and faster when track season comes around. But it's really nice. It's not an off period, but for running, it's kind of like an off period to just reset everything, build a strong base up again, and get ready for the next season.
We've talked about a lot of your races. You mentioned Arcadia, the state meet, a lot of races that got canceled. Picking a specific race from this past weekend, the state meet, you won the 1600 and 447, I believe. What did that feel like? And how are you approaching a race like that where 447 is fast, straight up? You take in altitude into consideration. I don't know what the conversion is. Maybe you do. But on top of that, it's like, what's your mindset going into that race where it's pretty fast time, but maybe it's not all out and you want to win the race. So it's like, how do you balance wanting to win and run a fast time, but also not go like guts to the wall from the gun and potentially set yourself up to blow up and then like play second or third? What's that relationship like?
Yeah, it's kind of been difficult, but I've had a few years to figure it out, and my coach is really experienced. So we always go with the mindset of let's race to win, especially this year when I really had the opportunity to do that. And hopefully, time will come with that. And especially going into the mile, it's the last race of the weekend. So everyone's kind of cooked and everyone's tired. And it's not necessarily probably going to be a PR day for a lot of people. So I just went in. I try to stay relaxed at first lap because realistically, a lot of adrenaline's going to be there. Some girls are going to go out really quick. And that field as a whole is really competitive and they've all run some really fast times. So as the race progressed, I just remembered to stay relaxed. But with 800 to go, if I wasn't at 225 or faster, I wanted to start going a bit more because I knew I had the strength to do that. And I always have those, I guess, points in races, especially with state meets where I know I can go with my training. So for the 32 in the mile, that's what me and my coach talked about. And that also like helped preserve some energy and not make it go guts to the wall at the beginning. And then the last two laps, I just kind of had in my mind, this is my last time in this jersey, last time with my teammates, last time racing in Colorado. So just give your all. And I was able to come away with a win. And I'm definitely not mad with 447, but I definitely had some left in the tank. And I know I can go faster, and that's what the rest of this training block is for. So I'm looking forward to postseason. But it was a really fun race, and I'm glad I could end it off that way.
Has there been a specific mile workout you've done recently, maybe leading into the state meet, that you were particularly impressed by or walked away from the track or were on your cool down? You're like, dang, I really just ran that.
Yeah, there's I hate 400s, but my coach loves them. And so we did this 400 workout a few weeks prior, and it's 400s at faster than mile race pace. And by the end, you want to be around like 5 or more seconds faster. And then you do around 6 to 8 200s at the end at 800 pace or faster. And it's not very much recovery. And that was hard. I think I ran my 400s around like 68 and then 65, 65, 64, and I believe it was either like a minute recovery in between, and at altitude your legs just get so tired. And then we had like I think I did 6 200s and they were like 30, and it doesn't sound super long and it doesn't sound that hard, but in the moment it's really tough and you just got to like find that extra place to kick and that extra strength. But it definitely got me ready for the mile, and I'm hoping, well, I hope there's more workouts like that this season, even though I know it's going to be pretty painful.
Let's talk about Brooks PR 2023. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, was your first year going to the meet and the event. What was it like getting invitation in the mail and or DMs, I guess, now in the digital age? It used to be a letter. And also, when was the first time you ever heard of the Brooks PR meet, and what was it like getting that invitation after knowing the history of the meet?
Yeah, I mean, Brooks PR is something that's, I guess, so popular for the whole running community, and it seems like such a prestigious event for like so many of the elite athletes. I was actually able to go my sophomore year. I ran the 3200 there, but last year was my first time running the mile. And there were two very different experiences. It was the first time my sophomore year after COVID, so everything was a bit more restricted, but it was still a really fun experience. Then last year I ran the mile, and that was so fun. And just getting the letter every year has been a good accomplishment, and you know that you can go out there and at the end of the season run against the best athletes and hopefully get a PR. And going every year is definitely something I look forward to. They put on such a good meet. It's so fun meeting all the athletes, and it's so electric, like the whole environment. And I don't know, I'm just really looking forward to it. Excited. They always have a good time there, so it should be good.
If I'm not mistaken, last year in the mile you ran 4:37, but also it was so top heavy. Jane set the meet record, and with the incredible list of athletes that have accomplished there, like a meet record at Brooks PR is remarkable. What was it like to be in that race, to PR, and also to be in truly such an historic race where I think Jane ran like 4:35 low?
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy. I think going in, I knew it was gonna be really fast and really competitive, so I didn't worry too much about the placement because I knew if I try to execute for time, placement would hopefully come with that. But when you see names like Jane in there and Tatum David, you know it's gonna be a quick one. So, I mean, I just went in there with the mentality of, I mean, I'm supposed to be here, I should be here, and you kind of need to remind yourself when you're with that such competitive like field that you also are deserving to be there. But, I don't know, I had a really fun time. I was happy with my time. Being in a race like that where you hear that the winner ran 4:35 and then a bunch of girls went sub 4:40, and it's so cool, and it's just, like, such a good environment to be in, and you just are so happy for each other, and it's also like, "Oh my gosh, I just ran that time, that's crazy." So I'm really hopeful that it's like that again this year, and we go out there and we run faster times. I'm sure that doesn't seem too far off because people are running insane right now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see how it should be this year. But last year was definitely a truly good experience.
Off the track, I know 2 years ago with COVID, it was a little bit differently or a little bit different, but what were some of your moments off the track from the past 2 years?
Yeah, I remember getting just to know all the other athletes at Brooks is just the most fun part, like, whether it's having dinner with them or talking about just random things on their season or whatever it is, or playing games like basketball. I'm pretty sure they had one of those in the lobby. It's just fun, and I think that's what really creates the whole environment. It cultivates such a good energy before the race, and that's really what brings it all together, I think, when you're racing, because you might be intimidated by competitors, but you get to know them on such a personal level beforehand, and that's what's fun, and so I'm really looking forward to that part about Brooks every year too, and it's always such a good experience.
So you live at 7,000 feet. Seattle's as sea level gets, unless I'm completely wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it's very sea level. What's it like getting off the plane? Do you feel different? Do you sleep better? What's the shakeout run like the day before? What's the difference, or is it pretty normal? You don't notice too much of a difference.
I usually expect to feel more of a difference, and it's the same every time. Like when I hit my shakeout run, I'm like, I should be able to run a lot faster, and it's not as hard. But I feel like with all the travel, sometimes I'm running like 8:30s, and I'm tired. I'm like, this is great. This makes me feel really confident for tomorrow or whatever. But it's usually fine. It's not a big deal. You can breathe easier. You don't get as winded. I don't know. It's something that you do realize after being at altitude like your whole life. You can definitely like get more air and get more oxygen, which is really nice, and you recover better. But as far as like actually feeling it goes, you don't really notice it. You just like are able to run longer and faster without getting tired, which leads to faster times. But it's not like while you're running, like wow, I can feel a lot faster. It's a weird mix, but it does always work out.
Talking about the 2024 edition, what was it like getting an invitation, and what was ultimately the decision to come back to the Brooks PR meet, go back to back to back in terms of coming here and hopefully seeking your first win?
Yeah, I don't know, it's always fun, and it's such an honor getting that invitation. I was struggling with trying to figure out what my postseason should look like because I really am trying to focus on New Balance, outdoor nationals, but I just thought again about my last high school postseason and what I wanted that to look like, and I knew that the field was super stacked and it was getting, like, more and more competitive as the days went by, so I looked at that and was like, if you want to PR, this like might be your best bet. You know, it's going to be fast. It's always a good experience. You've never really had anything negative happen there. So let's go out there and try one more time. And if that's a title, amazing. If that's a PR, that's the goal. So I'm just excited to go out there for one more time and see how it goes.
I have to ask you, Bethany. Sadie, I think, said this for the first time on my podcast that she was hoping to switch from the mile to the 800. Later, that got confirmed with the meet. Sadie is no longer in the mile. Maybe because you sound like you're going to the meet to PR and less focused on the win, you would have liked Sadie to drag the girls along to a faster time. But is it a breath of fresh air knowing that you might not have a 4:31 miler in the race?
Yeah, I mean, when you're kind of going against the girl who set the national record, it's a little hard to think about placement because she's just so talented, and I've gotten to know her these past few months even better, and it's just like she's gonna win. It's fine. But I think it's gonna be a different mindset going into the race when there's more of an opportunity for other people to win and go after that time or title. So I think I'll definitely have that in my mind. I'll definitely have some placement goals, but what those are yet, I'm not sure. But all I know is that I've looked at the people that are seated, and I'm pretty sure the slowest time was like a low 440s. So it's going to be fast no matter what. And it's going to be really competitive, which I'm excited for. But I also know that I am like supposed to be there. I have like the ability to be there. And so I definitely also have the opportunity to win if that's what I'm really going for. So it'll be exciting. And it's always fun to go out there and race them and try to get for the title.
Yeah, you mentioned how stacked the girls' mile field is this year. You're ranked second in the field behind Claire's 435, and you're one of three girls under 440, and then the rest are like 443 to 440, like point.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, like, you sound more. Are you more focused on PRing in this meet than winning? Is that what it sounds like?
I kind of just like going in with the mentality of PRing, but
Okay,
I wouldn't be opposed to a win. I think I just like I don't really think anybody would be opposed to a win, but I'm not sure
just
exactly
comes
what
out
that's
publicly.
supposed to
I,
look
I
like
don't want
yet.
to win. I don't
Yeah,
want to
no,
win,
yeah,
guys.
I'm in first place. I'm just gonna slow down a third. It's great. No, like if I go out there and win, it'd be a great day. But I also know that anyone could win that race, so I don't really want to put that as like my only goal because I know I'd also be happy with a PR. So if a PR comes great, if a placement comes great, I would just like one of those to be positive, I guess.
So with that in mind, I feel like the third lap is where the pace always lags. If you're, let's say, right on pace for a PR, 436 or faster, the pace starts lagging, but you know by going on the third lap that you might be sacrificing the win because you're whatever, however racing works. I feel like that's normally how it works, unless, I don't know, some athletes
Yeah.
can run away with it early. Are you pushing the pace? Are you going to say, I'm going to stick in second and third and wait till the last lap and then I'll push? I don't know your strategy either, but would you
I don't
sacrifice the win for a PR?
It's tough because I think there's some instances where you go out there and you try to win for the placement, but also it's called Brooks PR. I think my goal will be out there and try to PR. And hopefully, if I go out there and make the move, people go with me and that'll push me to maybe even try to have the win. But I think also sometimes where the pace is lagging the third lap, you just need somebody to go after it. And I have a confidence, my base, and my strength. So I think I could hang on, hopefully. But I don't know. I really want to go out there and hopefully PR, but I also will have another race the end of that week where I could try to go for a win or whatever it is. So I'm not 100% sure yet, but as of right now, I think I would go for the PR.
Okay, Bethany, I gotta get your hot take on something. You're gonna join me in track commentary. I'm gonna put you in an uncomfortable position.
Oh, gosh.
Sadie Englehart goes in the 800. Allianz has won 3 years in a row. She's got the golden spike many times. Who do you got winning this race? Does
This is
Sadie upset the party, or does Allie become the first athlete in history to win back to back to back to back?
I have no, I have no idea. I actually when I saw that she was entered in the 800, I was like, that is going to be a really good race because she just is good at Sadie's good at like any event that she runs, and I think she always steps up to the plate. But then Allie has so much experience in running the 800 at such a competitive level and in these big meets, and she's had some really tough competition too in the past, but she's always won. So it's like it's a battle because I think they both could definitely have the opportunity of doing it. But I maybe with Allie's experience, she could go out there and take it. But I also want to have faith in Sadie, my fellow Wolfpack member, that she will go out there and take the win. And so maybe I'll just land on Sadie because I want to support her. But I also think that whoever wins, it's going to be a crazy fast time and a really good race to watch. So I'm excited I get to watch it live.
Very, political response there, but I'd expect nothing less from a friend of both of them. What would be the advice you'd give to someone listening who thinks I one day want to run 437, I want to run for NC State or a D1 program? What would be some words of advice to young girls listening who want to be in your position one day?
Definitely to have patience and also just trust the process. And then the most thing I've learned this season is to not feel fear failure. I believe that you can learn so much from your losses, and it's not failure if you learn something from it. So, any opportunity that you have to go out there and race people or have a hard workout and it doesn't go your way, learn what went wrong and take it with you and learn those lessons and move forward, and also not dwell too much on the bad things and ultimately just to really have fun with it. It's not worth stressing over too much. At the end of the day, it is just a race and you're racing other girls your age, and just have, I guess, embrace every opportunity and not let it get to your head too much. But don't be too scared, and just, yeah, just have fun with everything you're doing, and because it's going to go by really quick. That's one thing I've also noticed this year is I feel like I was just a freshman and now I'm done. So embrace all the opportunities you have.
Bethany, final question for a fun one to close things out. What are you most looking forward to off the track in Seattle this year?
There's so many things. Oh gosh. I feel like the cruise at the end of the whole meet is really fun. You just get to like dance with the fellow athletes and talk to people and eat good food, eat good pizza. That pizza always hits after you run or whatever it is, or the ice cream. So I'm looking forward to that part and just celebrating one of my final last races as a high schooler.
Bethany, really appreciate the conversation. Keep crushing it. I'll be looking for you to I was gonna say win PR on June 12th in Seattle. I'll be cheering for you to run faster than 4:37. Keep crushing it, and I'll be cheering for you in Seattle.
Thank you so much.